Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The US Democratic National Convention, held online due to coronavirus restrictions, has officially crowned Joe Biden as the Democratic candidate for the White House.
In person if we can.
However, it was Michelle Obama and her powerful speech that caught everyone's attention with a searing indictment of Donald Trump's presidency.
So let me be as honest and clear as I possibly can. Donald Trump is the wrong president for our country. He has had more than enough time to prove that he can do the job, but he is clearly in over his head. He cannot meet this moment. He simply cannot be who we need him to be for us. It is what it is.
Mrs. Obama accused the president of completely mishandling the coronavirus pandemic and of failing to respond to the nationwide cries for racial justice.
We're facing the worst public health crisis in 100 years.
Her denunciations of the president were echoed from other prominent Democratic figures and also by some Republicans. Joe Biden currently leads President Donald Trump in national opinion polls. The poll is supposed to take place on November the 3rd. One of 4 men accused of killing Rafik Hariri, the former Lebanese prime minister in Beirut in 2005, has been convicted by a special UN-backed court.
Finds Salim Jamil Ayash guilty as a co-perpetrator of...
Salim Ayash and the others, all from the Shia militant group Hezbollah, had been on trial in absentia since 2014 for the killing of the prime minister and 21 other people in a massive bomb attack in the Lebanese capital. The Belarusian leader Alexander Lukashenko has said he would be ready to hold new elections and hand over power after a constitutional referendum, an attempt to pacify mass protests and strikes that pose the biggest challenge yet to his rule. This comes after he told off jeering workers on a visit to a factory who booed and chanted "leave" as he threatened there would be no new elections while he was alive. This comes as the opposition candidate Svetlana Tikhanovskaya, now exiled in Lithuania, suggested she could act as an interim leader. Hundreds of protesters have been wounded and 2 have died in clashes with police over the past week. Some 6,700 people have been arrested, and many have spoken of torture at the hands of security forces. The captain of the ship that spilled hundreds of tons of oil off the coast of Mauritius has been arrested. Police said Sunil Kumar Nandeshwar, a 58-year-old Indian man, was charged with endangering safe navigation. The MV Wakashio ran aground on a coral reef while carrying 4,000 tons of fuel oil in July. The World Health Organization has said they are concerned by the number of young people recently infected by coronavirus. The WHO said the proportion of younger people among those infected had risen globally, putting at risk vulnerable sectors of the population worldwide, including the elderly and sick people in densely populated areas with weak health services. A surge in new cases has prompted some countries to reimpose curbs as the number of infections nears 22 million. More than a dozen rockets have struck the Afghan capital Kabul, wounding at least 10 people, prompting some foreign embassies to order a lockdown. The security threat came as Afghanistan celebrated its National Independence Day, marking the end of British sovereignty over the country in 1919. The identity of the attackers was unknown, though an Interior Ministry spokesman said 2 suspects had been arrested. A new report shows overfishing from industrial trawlers in the waters of the Republic of Congo is forcing fishermen to catch more sharks already at risk of extinction. The Wildlife Trade Monitoring Network called for stronger measures to cut down on shark fishing in West Africa, which would endanger rare species such as rays and hammerheads. The Republic of Congo, which has one of the highest per capita fish consumption rates amongst sub-Saharan African countries. The country's artisanal fishermen rely on them for local trade and consumption, but demand in Asia is also fueling the drive to catch more. And finally, footage of a pod of dolphins who have been seen playing with jet skis and their riders on the Dorset coast in the UK. 2 lifeboats were dispatched to the area after receiving a call reporting a jet ski on fire in Ringstead Bay. But after arriving on the scene and putting out the fire, both the lifeboat crews and the jet ski riders were greeted with the sight of a pod of playing dolphins jumping in the water. No one was injured in the fire, including the dolphins, and both jet ski riders and the lifeboat crews got an incredible story to tell. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.